We're heading back today to my favourite brewery. Yep, it's another Polly's. This one is the Feels Vol.4. But what's it going to be like? Can the taste of this beer live up to this fantastic can artwork? Check out the review to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're drinking a beer from Polly's. Now Polly's, one of my favourite breweries, based in North Wales, in Mold. And, you know, it's another stunning looking can there. Look at the colours on that. Really bright, really sort of eye-catching. You know, you see this beer on the shelf and you want to pick it up and see what it's all about. This is an Oat India Pale Ale. It's called the Feels Vol.4. A little while ago, well, I say a little while ago, last year, we had the Feels Vol.3, which I reviewed on the channel, and it was a pretty good beer, nice and thick, and with that oat sort of, the additional of lots of oats in it, gives it a really sort of thick and really creamy mouthfeel. So I'm hoping this is going to be as good. This has got the hops Mosaic and Sabro. Now, I was thinking about this and Sabro hops, because last year I started to get a little bit obsessed with Sabro. I thought, you know, I was buying nearly every other beer I was buying had Sabro hops in it. And it seemed to be the hop of the moment. Sabro, for people that don't know, is a very, very easy to sort of distinguish in a beer, I think. I think it's probably the most easiest flavour profile of any sort of beers. And it's quite unique. It has a very pineapple and then coconut flavour, and it's that pina colada flavour, usually with a bit of lime. Sometimes I had a beer last year which had a sort of almost like a creamy mint flavour as well, like a Murray mint, and it had all those flavours in it, very, very distinctive. But then after a while I sort of got a bit fed up. I found it a little bit overpowering, and I started to sort of really go off Sabro. From being a massive fan, I suddenly thought, I'm avoiding the Sabro hops. But I had the Feels Vol.3 that was good. I don't even remember if that got Sabro in it. I don't think it had. So I want to try this one because I know how good that beer was. And I thought, well, let's try this one. It's got Sabro in it. You know, Polly's do seem to be using Sabro quite a lot in a lot of their beers. I've just seen a few reviews from a fellow YouTuber, Beer Dad. If you haven't checked out his channel, it's really good. He does some really great reviews, and he's reviewing, I think, 4 beers over this period from Polly's, and there's a few of them with Sabro. Some of them have got a big Sabro hit, and some of them not so much. That's the thing with Sabro, as it is, I think, with any hops. When you've got multiples, it can sometimes, you know, you can get the good stuff, the good characteristics from that hop, but at the same time, it doesn't overpower if it's just a single hop. And we did have last year, we had single hop Sabro. So I'm hoping that this one, with obviously the introduction of Mosaic, which is very much tropical, sort of, you know, those sort of tropical notes, almost bubblegum as well, flavour in there. We'll see what it's like, and whether the oatness of it, the oat cream as it were, can really sort of give this a really good flavour. I mean, obviously pina colada and a sort of an oat cream type of IPA sort of goes together pretty well, really. So beer in a glass, we've got this lovely sort of orangey hazy beer, 2 fingers, tightly compacted just off white head. It looks pretty good, and already characteristics of any Polly's beer. The aroma is there before I've even put it to my nose, so I'm getting lots of pineapple already. But let's get a proper nose. Yeah, that smells really, really juicy and fruity. Pineapple is really big. Nice, big, fresh pineapple aromas there. Yeah, then I'm getting a bit of tangerine and a bit of mango and papaya, bit of passion fruit. And just a little whiff there of a subtleness of coconut. And that will be obviously from the Sabro hops. But let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Yeah, there's no doubt there's Sabro in this beer. Straight away, you get that pineapple that sort of goes into that pina colada. It's almost, to me, you get a creamy, sweet pineapple then you get a little bit of coconut in there, and then you get this sort of almost quite slightly piney bitterness, but it's not really piney bitterness. It's almost like a real strong, zesty lime type of bitterness. I'm getting a lot of lime flavors there, and it does remind me of a pina colada. I don't know what it is about it. It's not, it's just not pineapple and coconut, but the combination, it has that sort of the warmth of the alcohol. It almost tastes as if you've got that sort of the rum sort of flavor in it. It's always a strange one, Sabro. Yeah, it's very juicy and very fruity. Mouthfeel, not as thick and as creamy as probably as I expected. Carbonation is soft, low, medium, I would say, the body, not overly thick. I'm sure the one we had before was a little bit thicker than this, so not quite as thick and as heavy in terms of the mouthfeel, but still very much in that way of an IPA, very, very smooth and creamy and packed full of juice and packed full of hops, really. That's the thing. If you look at any of the descriptions of the Polly's, it doesn't give the full description on here. But Polly's release probably 2, sometimes 3 beers every single week, and they're always different. They've always got great brand new artwork, but the thing is, they release so many, you start getting confused which ones you've drank and which ones you haven't. But when you read the descriptions of the beer, they talk about, oh yeah, we use 70 kilos of hops in the cold, on the cold side, and then so much in the whirlpool. It does seem like they use huge amounts of hops, to get that big fruit flavour. And that creates that really strong aroma, which I don't think there's any other beer brewery that where you pop the lid open, your senses are sort of ignited a little bit. That's the thing with Polly's, and that's the big characteristics. And I think, if you open a beer and you can smell those strong tropical sort of aromas, it makes you want to drink it. You're in for a treat. You're in for a big juice bomb. And Polly's are the masters at juice bomb. This is a lovely beer. If you don't like Sabro, you probably won't like it because it's quite dominating in terms of the Sabro. I feel that you need a little bit more something to go with the Sabro, a little bit more fresh and citrusy, something which has got more sort of grapefruit characteristics, or more sort of real big citrus lemon sort of characteristic, because that just balances it out. I think if you don't have that, it can go into a little bit, can be too strong, that sort of lime and mint and creaminess and pineapple and coconut all mixed together is a little bit, it's such a strong flavor, those strong flavors, that anything else, it just over dominates a beer. So again, I think if you're looking out for a beer with Sabro in it, it's interesting to see whether there's any beers that go really well. We had one last year by Burning Sky, I think it's called, and that had an experimental hop with the Sabro. That experimental hop had much more characteristics of grapefruit, and it really, I thought it was one of the best beers with Sabro that I've had. It was really good. This one is nice and juicy, but Sabro is dominant. So let's get some scores for the Feels Volume 4. Okay, the scores are in for this Polly's The Feels Volume 4. It's an Oat India Pale Ale. I don't even know if I mentioned the alcohol. It's 6.3%. We've got Mosaic, we've got Sabro. It's a very nice beer. It's a very typically good Polly's beer. It's not the best Polly's beer I've had, but it's definitely not the worst, and it's up there in a very highly commendable beer. It's I'll go through the scores anyway. You'll see the internal when you get the score. So the first things first, aroma. Well, one big, as I said, the characteristics of a Polly's beer is that you always, when you open the can, you don't need to have your nose by the can, and you get those big, strong, tropical notes. And I think that's got to be down to the fact that they use a big hop, a large hop profile when they're making the beer, when they're brewing the beer. So it's a lovely aroma of tropical, pineapple, coconut, a bit of mango in there, and oranges, all a big fruit bowl of aromas. It really smells good, so I'm giving it 15 out of 20. Appearance, well, it's a pretty stunning looking beer. I mean, you can see that there. It's a straw coloured, you know, you've got a little bit of a head there, but not masses of head, but you know, you don't really get that with an IPA. It's a solid, if not overly remarkable, so I'm giving it 8 out of 10 for appearance. Flavour wise, well, again, when you use the Sabro hop, like you have here, and it's only got Sabro and Mosaic in it, and the Sabro is very dominant. So you're getting those big Sabro flavours, pineapple, coconut, lime, and then we've got this creamy sort of mint flavour in there as well. And obviously the beer itself, because it's an oat IPA, it's got a lot of oats in it, gives it that haze, but also gives it the body as well. The body's probably not as thick as I would expect, really. It's a medium sort of body, but flavour wise it's there, but very dominant Sabro. So if you don't like those Sabro flavours, you probably won't like it. To me, it still needs a more lighter sort of hop profile, like Citra, or even like, you know, the sort of, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, some of the New Zealand type of hops to give it a much more sort of fresher, grapefruity sort of flavour. That's what it needs, I think. But it's still pretty nice. Very strong flavours. 33 for flavour. Value for money. This one cost me just over a £5, so it's not the cheapest. It's a pretty much a mid-level sort of polish. You can pay anything between 4 and 6, even more actually. If you're looking at double and triple IPAs, you can pay more than £6. But £5.20 this was, so not bad. It's a 7 out of 10 for value. And then my overall experience, well, it's a nice beer. It's got a nice soft body. It's got lots of strong flavours. But again, it's really that sort of, it can be a Marmite beer. You know, if you love Sabro, you'll love this beer. If you're not so sure on Sabro, then, you know, you'll still get a lot of enjoyment from it because the flavours are nice and there's nice, juicy, tropical flavours in there and a lovely body. But if you hate Sabro, there's no denying that this, you can't deny the flavour of Sabro is very dominant in this beer. So for you, it may not be great. So for me, I'm giving it a 14 now. I still think it's a very good beer. I think that the Feels Vol.3 was better. I'd like to remember what the hops were. Maybe I'll go back and look at the video and see what hops were in that. But I don't think they were Sabro. But it's still pretty good. 14 out of 20. Tighten those scores up. We get a pretty good recommended 77 out of 100. So it's another great beer from Polly's. I've had better Polly's. We've had beers in the 80s from Polly's. I've still got a few other Polly's in the fridge, so we'll see whether we get any better ones this month. But consistently good beers from Polly's, good fruity beers, and now they are actually going into doing. They've been doing a few different things with. They've got a stout, which is the first I've ever heard of a stout, so I'm interested to see what that one's like. And also they do pale ales and they do Berliners and sours as well. So they've got something for everyone. Let's say there's new beers from Polly's all the time, and a lot of bottle shops have them, so you'll find a Polly's anyway. And let's say you're always going to get a good beer, and sometimes you'll get a really great one. So that's enough for this review. Until the next one, keep on rocking.